All right, so our cat has feline leukemia, and I've been treating it, and I figured I would share what I've been doing here. Some of my own stuff, some of the vet stuff, but we're seeing some progress here. Still have to hand feed them, still have to get water into them. We get water two ways, by the mouth and also by subcutaneous and needle. And I'm going to show all that, and hopefully this will help you. And so anyway, typically I start with some water. It's good to put a kind of blanket around them so that they don't grab your paws. I usually have somebody holding this, but I also use a glove so I don't get bit here. Keep a lot of toilet paper because he's drooling a lot. And especially when you put things like vitamin C, they don't like that. So I had these dropper bottles, 2-ounce dropper bottles. That gives me an idea how much water I'm getting in. Do not use the glass dropper. He already bit off 2. Unfortunately, I think I got the glass out of his mouth before. It was just a little tip. So it's some kind of plastic dropper bottle, a dropper. And I'm going to try to get most of this 2 ounces down. And actually, what I'm going to do also is I got this Laxatone. It's kind of helps it's a lubricant for he's really was blocked up and not getting any stools out. We're getting some stools now. So usually you give about a teaspoon of this, but I kind of butter knives is the best way to feed a cat. Okay, so I kind of put it in his mouth like that, on the side of his mouth, and on his tongue, or usually the side of the mouth, kind of rub it on the side and comes off, and then he takes it down. He's doing quite well. Typically he's drooling to beat the band. He might still be doing it. So we got the Laxatone in, and go back with the water. Get some water in. Oops. Okay. You can see how he's swallowing it there. So, and this is good because when we first started doing this, most of it was coming out, and now he's actually swallowing really well. And you can see some of the saliva starting to drooling. Don't know where we're headed with all this. All I know is we're making improvements slowly. The litmus test will be when he eats him and drinks himself. Okay, so throw some water, keep giving the water down. Okay, the other thing I'm going to do is I made up this vitamin C mix with ester vitamin C, I believe it's called. It has bioflavonoids in. You can get it at Walmart for $9, and ester C, I think it's called. Really the best vitamin C. Then I also put some B complex in here. I put some D3, and I put some curcumin, which is kind of it's really good. So I mixed all that up, and I got this orangey thing. But again, I'm going to use the plastic dropper because I cracked. He broke into that one, and I've been giving him that once a day, or actually twice a day. And this is where he's going to probably drool a lot, as you can see, because this tastes probably terrible to a cat. But I think it's really good for his immune system. Let me give him another dose. I need to make up another batch of this. Kind of have to hold her head. That's the only way you're going to get this stuff in. But he's swallowing it. That's all that matters. I'm going to go back to the water. Kind of wash all that down. And I'm trying to get more water with the dropper than the subcutaneous. We have to, even the vet said we need to try to transition from the subcutaneous to, you know, getting it down his throat as opposed to under the skin. And I think it does a lot, because when I started doing that, I started to see more stool coming out. And I was thinking of doing an enema, having the vet do an enema. And I actually ordered a little enema syringe. Hasn't come yet. But she said, as long as he's pooping, you don't want to mess with that. Okay. So I got... Okay, and I'm going to probably save the rest of the water till after I feed him. Come on, buddy. Get your head over here. There we go. Maybe one more. Okay. So I know maybe it looks inhumane to some what I'm doing, but, you know, I don't know. I think he appreciates that he's still alive. Because if we wouldn't have done this, the vet told us that he needed to go to an intensive care in order to live, or do intense things at home. So I'm doing intense things at home. So before I feed him, I have a couple other things. I have this Serenia, which is kind of anti-vomit that you give every 24 hours. 1/4 of a tablet. I mix it in a dropper bottle, and I put 8 droppers of water to 1 tablet, and then every time I give it to him, I give him 2 drops of this stuff. I'm kind of cutting back somewhat on this. But he hasn't vomited since, since giving this. Let me see here. And there's also this appetite stimulant, and that I pretty much have cut back. It was a medication, a prescription from the vet, but that's when he wasn't hardly eating anything. I mean, even hand feeding him, he wasn't eating. So as far as food, there's this stuff by Hill's Prescription Diet Urgent Care. It's very high in protein. But I also found at things like Walmart, some of these other brands that are basically like no grain, high protein. So there's other options besides. This is like $2.75 a can or something like that. Anyway, so we're gonna feed him here, and I'm gonna mix in his food, or some of it, at least the first. I try to feed him until he doesn't want, it starts coming back out, so you can kind of tell when he's had enough. But I'll take a little bit of it. I'll take an omega-3 capsule, bite off the end, and mix a little omega-3 in there, and then I also probiotic. I think this is like a 50 million or some billion probiotic, and I'll give him that. You'll see that I'm working on a whole lot of fronts here: vitamins, homeopathy, a lot of different ways. Okay, with the food, like I said, a knife is the best. I would try to spoon. Knife, you put it on the end, and you just stick it. Stick it in the side of his mouth, and then he chews. Just there and chew it up and swallow it. Come on. A lot of saliva still coming out today, and come on. So then I just stick the knife in there just to get him to swallow. And the reason the saliva is coming out because I have the probiotic. It probably has a weird taste to it. So let me give the omega-3 oil has a weird taste to it. Oops. Yeah, all of these have like weird taste. Come on. Come on. He seems to be having a hard time this morning eating. Come on. Okay, so like when he's doing this and it's coming back out, then it's a lot of saliva that's coming back out. It's not really the food, but it's the saliva mixed with the food. And I kind of give him a chance to process that. I'm not going to force food down his throat. I'll let him give him a few minutes, and maybe I'll give him a little water to kind of get it all down. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay. So I'm gonna give him a chance to process that. I don't want to force, let him clear his palate. Make sure everything's going on. Oh yeah, everything's good. We're clear. Okay, and again, just stick it on the side of the mouth. Let him chew it. You can see. Yeah, you can see there's no saliva now because anytime you give them any weird stuff, they're gonna respond with lots of saliva. That's just kind of the way it is. I know it looks kind of gross. So you could see he's chewing it well, and there's nothing drooling down, and it looked pretty gross when he's drooling, like I'm forcing it down his throat. Come on, let's go, come on. So you got to give him time, and sometimes it's it's enough. Like when you see, like now I'm almost sensing that maybe he's had enough food. And we've only been doing twice a day all of this, but I really need to do the food and water 4 times a day, add little bits. I think cats don't eat a lot, at one time. So it's real hard, you got a lot of things going on in your day to do this 4 times a day, but he's slowly improving. That's all I can say. Okay, so okay, so I think we got enough food in because it's come on, get it down. There we go. Okay, so this knife comes in handy, kind of helps them, clear their palate. So you can see, there's no food in his mouth. I'll probably give him the rest of the water now. Again, put it on the side. Use a dropper. Definitely use a plastic dropper. Out of experience, you don't want to use glass. But these 2-ounce bottles you can get on eBay, like 20 for $20 or something like that. I use them for homeopathic remedies. Speaking of which, I have 2 remedies I'm kind of mainly using. One is arnica, and the other is aconitum, 30C. And I got some of the remedy, and I put it in water and alcohol. You always want to preserve it in alcohol, like vodka, like 1/4 vodka, 3/4 water, and then drop the pellet in there. Always shake it up. It's called causation, and then I just give him a few drops, and this causes him to just drop it in like that. So a few drops is all I need. You can read about these on the internet. Arnica, what it does. Aconitum. Bryonia is another actually good one for viruses, but aconitum is like serious illness, kind of. The other, I had some arsenicum made up for him. I think I had a Bryonia in here. Yeah, here's Bryonia. Bryonia, like for the coronavirus, being that it's the virus he's dealing with, Bryonia is a good remedy for that coronavirus. But it's usually centered around the lungs, and so I haven't been giving this too much. But those are some remedies you can use. So I pretty much covered. Oh, there's also this kidney restore. I mixed that with this food. I'm not going to do that today, but there's that I found that seems really well. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm going to get into the hydration, the subcutaneous. I got these 18 gauge needles, 1.5 inches from the farm supply. You can get a box 24 for like $8. And then the liquid bag cost me $20 a bag at the vet. And it's a plasma light A injection, pH 7.4 multi-electrolytes injection. So what we do is when we finish, we put a new needle on, so we're kind of ready to roll. And it also kind of keeps it isolated, you know, from anything getting inside the water. And so I'm going to have, my daughter was filming, hold the bag up. And okay, so I'll man this here. There's a little control here. Turn it on. Okay, so basically just hold it up down, and I'll just end the camera, and we're good. So here's my needle. Okay, and I'm gonna open up the valve to let some water out, so get any air come out. There it goes. Once the water comes out, then we're good. Okay, so here we go. And this you don't have to hold on his paws or anything, because he's not going to try to go at you. This we do from behind. And basically, and this is where I take my glove off, because it's really hard to work with the glove. Okay, so you grab a hold of his skin back here, you put your finger in there, and you can see there's a little, you can feel the skin, and you can feel there's a whole pouch in here. So as I said, you pull up the pouch here and put your finger in there so you can feel the skin, and you want to, it's like a little teepee thing here, triangle, and you just put the needle right through the skin. Normally he doesn't feel it, okay, and then I kind of move the needle around to make sure that I'm in the pouch, and then I'll open it up, the water, and when you open it, you will immediately, if you're in the right place, you could see this expanding. Okay, you can see the water that's coming in. So you're monitoring the water, what level?
Or 6.5. So
we give them anywhere from 50 to 100 milliliters of water, depending on how much fluids I get into his mouth. I'm hoping to cut this down. Lately, we've just been giving 3/4. Seems to be enough. But I think if I can get 4 of those bottles, that would be 8 ounces of water in a day. We may not have to do this. But you can feel his hydration, just the way he feels. You know, you can tell how hydrated he is. If he's really emaciated, feeling bony, then he really needs water. I mean, there's definitely, he's not eating enough. That's a given. But and you can see how this is expanding here. So this is a way to hydrate your cat. He's not drinking or eating himself, so I mean he would be dead if we didn't do this. That would be basically, or some people take their cat and they, you know, he has leukemia, it's all over, put him to sleep. We have a cat who's very, very old, probably going on 20, who had a stroke, and he's they told us to put him to sleep, and he's just having a great life. My daughter takes care of him. He does move around. He didn't regain all of his muscle function, but quite a bit. So he can jump onto the couch and off and things like that, and kind of crawl around. We don't tend to put animals to sleep, but we also don't do it. We also don't want them to suffer, and like you see all the stuff I'm doing here, takes a lot of time.
So, yeah, we're at 7.
Okay, so all right, so then I'll put a new needle on. Let me get the cover back on this guy. And you could see all of the needles that we have used so far. So this is not a one-time deal. So put a new needle on the end, kind of keep it clean. And finish up. I'm going to finish up the water. Okay, and so this we need to cover his paws because we don't want to get clobbered. Okay, and get my glove back on. That has kind of a protection. I already gotten bit, not really bit, but kind of got my finger in his mouth and also clawed a couple of times. So okay, so we'll finish up the water. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit more food. Again, I'm not going to force it, but I'm going to see if he's going to swallow it down. Again, put it in there with the knife. So you want to try to get as much food as you can, but you don't want him to be choking or gagging on it. Toilet paper roll, always, especially when they're drooling like this. Yes. Let me see if he got that down. Yeah, clear. So we're gonna, I like to get the rest of us down him. Well, again, put it down inside and into his throat, and you can see him just swallowed it. So. So the knife helps kind of keep things going. Let's see if we're clear. Yeah, so he's swallowing. So this is kind of a combination of recommendations of the vet, but also a lot of my own ideas here. I'm not too sure where we're going to end up with all this, but it's not a fast recovery by all means, as you can see. Not many needles so far, and what, 3 or 4 bags? We're on our 4th bag of water. But maybe persistence pays off, so that's what we're hoping with this guy. All right, you ready to roll? There he goes. So, anyway, that's it. Over and out. And there is Colorota eating for the first time since he got sick. This is huge. We've been doing intensive care, as you see in the video. I'm tacking this onto my video because I saw him actually cleaning himself today, and now he's actually eating dry food. This is huge. Him eating food or drinking, I don't know if he's drank any water yet, but this is huge. This is like, so he's sniffing around looking for food. This is really, really good. So I just wanted to I'm glad I captured this so I can tack it onto my video. And this is the first time he's eaten food, probably what, in 3 weeks, Sana? Yeah, probably 4 weeks. We've been hand feeding him ever since. Oh, there he's going for it again. This is very, very, very good. So maybe he's gonna go use a litter box now.
Maybe.
Okay, I'm gonna see.
Oh, he's like, oh, wait.
Very good. Excellent.